Hey guys, so I wanted to talk today about financial abuse. Because in my marriage, I experienced financial abuse, but not really in the sense that a lot of people think when they hear about financial abuse. So a lot of people think about it in terms of straight couples where the man controls the woman with money, where like he doesn't let her work so she can't make her own money, or he doesn't give her access to any credit cards or debit cards and just gives her like an allowance to spend. Things like that. That's what a lot of people think when they think of financial abuse. But that's not really how the financial abuse that I dealt with happened. So in my marriage, when we first got married and decided, we were going to join finances, she joined my bank account. And we decided to have 100% of each of our paychecks go into the joint account. And that account would be used to pay the bills. And, we just had one account that all the money came out of. Now, I was actually the one that was responsible for the finances. So I was the one who actually paid all the bills when we got paid, and and made sure to have money for groceries and things like that. What happened was when money would come in, I would pay all the bills. Anything extra left over, I would just assume would kind of carry over, and we would have money, we would be able to put money in savings or money into the next paycheck. And unless we really needed to spend money on something, we didn't really spend it, or at least that's how I was. But it became pretty apparent that that's not how my ex was. If she wanted to go and, buy a new purse that she saw, she was just going to go buy it. If she wanted to order 10 things online, she was just going to order it. And we didn't really talk about it. We didn't really discuss it. And then pretty soon money is just going out of the account that I wasn't anticipating. And then if I needed to get something that we had to get, like get a new battery for the car or something like that, then money wouldn't be there, and we would end up having to charge it on a credit card, or we would start overdrafting. Now, I know we've all been there. We've all made, stupid mistakes with money and have overdrafted. That's a normal part of growing up. I did the same thing. I've made plenty of mistakes, but several years leading up into my marriage, I worked really hard on my finances. I hadn't overdrafted for many, many years, and now all of a sudden here I am married with two incomes coming in, and all of a sudden we're overdrafting all the time. And that really concerned me. We, had just bought a house. We had two vehicles. Things were bound to break down or go wrong with it. And I thought we should be having money in savings. We should have something saved up. We should have just more control over the budget. We definitely shouldn't be overdrafting. I asked my ex-wife to sit down with me and let's make a budget. Let's sit down and write out a budget. How much of our paychecks are going to go into savings every pay period? How much are going to stay in the account for bills? How much are we going to set aside for groceries? How are we going to handle other expenses? Like if we need to get new clothes or buy something, that was unexpected, some kind of emergency fund. And then how are we going to handle frivolous spending? So you want to go to Scooter's Coffee every morning and just blow money on an $8 coffee. How are we going to handle that? How much are we going to allow every week or every pay period for just spending money like that? And so we sat down, we wrote out a budget, and we agreed on it. And I felt great about it because we both thought it was fair, or at least I thought we did. And now we have this budget that we're going to follow, and we can plan now for the future. Then I was incredibly surprised when she decided to just never follow the budget from that point forward. And I couldn't understand why. Why would you spend all this energy with me to make this budget if you're just not going to follow it? There would always be an excuse, oh, she couldn't keep to the frivolous spending because she hates having cash on her. So she would just spend money on the debit card and not really watch it. And any solution I tried to have to an excuse, it wouldn't matter. There would always be some other excuse. So this turned into many, many fights. I'm sure you can all guess. And so after a while, I just gave up. There was just no way that she was going to respect the budget and follow it. And so at a certain point, I was just like, you know what? I don't care what you spend, but just check the bank account before you spend money. Just don't overdraft us. That was my one wish. Just check the bank account before you spend any money so we don't overdraft. And apparently this was just not something that could be done. This became such a big issue later that when we actually went to a marriage counselor later, I brought this up, this issue with the budget. And, anybody who has been to therapy with a narcissistic partner can attest that unless that person is like familiar with that kind of abuse, they usually don't pick up on it. And a lot of times they take the abuser's side and it does not go well for the other person. And that is exactly what happened to me. And at one point, when I mentioned this issue with the budget, the marriage counselor said, you know what, maybe in order for your ex-wife to make informed decisions about finances, you could tell her what the balance is every Monday and every Thursday. That way she can make good decisions. And I was like, no, I'm not her parent. Like, she has lived a whole life before me. She has had a budget before I have ever come into the picture. Why can't she just check the bank account before she spends money so we don't overdraft? I was flabbergasted that this other grown-ass person was like taking her side in this matter. Like, all I'm asking is just check the bank account. That was it. My ex, of course, took that and ran with it and was like, yeah, why can't you do that? And so I was like, I'm not doing this. So from that point on, I had to be like, okay, you have your credit card and I have my credit card. You're no longer allowed to use the debit card anymore. So you spend money on the credit card. That's what you're going to do. And if I need to spend money, I'll spend it on my credit card. But our bank account is off limits. So when we get paid, I am going to just move every penny out of there and pay bills and pay off credit cards and keep the money set aside for groceries and all that stuff and the emergency fund or whatever. But from now on, you cannot use the bank account anymore. So at least we're not overdrafting. And that's pretty much how our marriage went the rest of the time. There wasn't really any way to like save money. Now, I did, as time went on, I found little secret ways to put back money and try to budget for things, because we were also trying to build a family and I really wanted to like have money set aside for those expenses that were going to be coming up. But it was really difficult to do in secret. And if she knew that there was money, it would just get spent. So it was super frustrating. It was really stressful. And that is the kind of what I would consider financial abuse that I dealt with. She didn't, control things. She didn't prevent me from working or any of that stuff. But, she would sit down, pretend to agree on something with me and then just never follow it and just spend money and not actually respect any of the boundaries that I put in place when it came to the finances. And so I would consider that financial abuse, but I feel like it looks a little bit different than what people think. And so I wanted to share on here, and maybe others have dealt with a similar kind of financial abuse. So if you have, let me know in the comments.